Good morning, and thanks everybody for coming. I'm glad you're here, and I hope it's something that we can help fill in some gaps for you when a lot of people are interested in what we do. You know, there's an awful lot of information out there on the internet. There's a lot of ways to skin this trading cat. There are just a lot of ways of going about doing things, and not every way speaks to every person. So, you know, this is kind of a niche that we have. It works great. It's been working for us for almost 15 years now, and we're very happy to share it with anybody that wants to, you know, maybe take a look at it. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but I found that not all trading systems worked for me. So I had to kind of come up with one that did work for me. And as it turns out, over the last 15 years or so, there's a few thousand more of you out there that it's working for you too. So hopefully this is the beginning of something new for you and exciting and above all, successful. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to tell you guys is you may notice up at the top of the chat, there are two files, okay? You can download those files and save them for later or use them for reference as we're going through the things that we're going to go through today, okay? There's a couple of them. One of them is called our Quick Start Guide, okay? And we're going to actually go through that right now before I start showing you the trades that we took this week. And we're going to go through it quickly so you can have at least a familiarity with the indicators that we're using, what they do, and then we'll look at the setups very quickly. So we'll take just a few minutes to do that, but then the Quick Start Guide is yours to keep, and then you can, you know, study it and go over it later, particularly if you're watching this on video and you have that Quick Start Guide to kind of refer to while watching the video. The other item is a sheet that explains what we did to the NQ to make it more tradable for our style of trading. If you have tried to trade the NQ, the NASDAQ Mini, you may have noticed that over the last few years, it's gotten quite erratic. And it used to be a real nice mover for us and very much like the YM. But then we stopped trading it when it became very, very erratic. Well, over the years, it has calmed to some degree, but it's still a bit much or too volatile for us as it with the quarter tick setting. So we changed one of the settings so that it actually moves a bit more fluid for us, and it's now more tradable for us doing this. And essentially what we've done is we've changed it. Instead of a regular tick, it's now 2 ticks. So each movement is 2 ticks. And it'll be explained in that document a little bit more. And since we've moved to that, it's actually done very well for us. But that makes it now, it's $5 for our ticks. So it's a double tick. So it's instead of $5, it's now $10. Okay. So that document is also in there. If you ever want to do that with your NQ, you'll now know how to change that setting. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, if you guys have downloaded that documentation, is we're going to go over it real quickly. So here's our Quick Start Guide. Some information in the beginning of it if you're interested in learning more about us. This is our audit that one of our members has done. He's an analyst for a large corporation. That's what he does, is he does audits. So he actually audits our trades and provides this for us. And so that's in the Quick Start Guide as well, if you haven't seen that yet. So let's talk about the indicators that you're going to see on our trading charts here in just a few minutes. Okay, so we use high and low of the day. That's a Ninja Trader indicator, and for us, that provides minor support and resistance levels. Okay, it's not important that I go into a lot of detail about a lot of these right now. I will go into more detail while I'm showing you the trades that we took this week. Of course, the countdown timer is very important to us because the open of the next bar is when we make our trade decisions. So we can anticipate the open of the next bar using our countdown timer. Okay. We have our overbought and oversold indicator. Okay. So we're looking for weakness to be setting in. So we measure strength to anticipate weakness. And when something is overbought or oversold, we can anticipate that weakness is or exhaustion is a strong potential. Okay. And that's what we need. Okay. And I'll explain this more. So overbought, you see the pink outline on these green bars. That's our overbought indicator. And this is oversold. The indicator is called OBOS. We now call it OBOS. All right, our pullback alert. Absolutely, Pam. Absolutely. It's a very strong part. When I start seeing things are OBOS and then the other indicators coming in, you almost can feel the excitement because you know something's about to happen. That's the same with this pullback alert. So people ask about why don't you measure volume? We don't just measure volume for the sake of volume. We measure certain types of volume. We only want to know when certain types of volume is coming in. So when we get a kind of a churning, we either get climax bars or we get a churning. We're looking for a type of volume that's coming into a bar, and we want to know if it's a climactic bar, and we also want to know if there's a churning type of activity that's going on inside the bar, because that churning is an indication that something is about to change, and that's what we need to know. Okay. We have our ricochet indicator, which was a byproduct of the speed tick indicator. I'll show you in a minute. The ricochet is an acceleration indicator. When price accelerates really, really quickly, when you see it jump, when you go from these little bars to these great big bars very suddenly, that's also a sign that something's about to happen. Something's about to change. There's a good chance that this bar was not created by us retail traders, that it was created by something mechanical, computers. And therefore, if that's the case, they're looking to create a reaction. So it's very likely that we're going to get a pullback after a ricochet. Okay. Now we have our support and resistance lines. We call it FT reset. And the numbers at the end of these lines reset every time that the line has been touched or crossed, and it resets to 0. These lines are important so that if we approach them in a real strong way, we very often see a reaction to that line if it's been a long time since that line has been touched or crossed. Okay. So if this number is relatively high, like over 120, if price approaches it this way, we can anticipate that price is going to bounce off of it at least a little. Doesn't mean we're going to always get like a full-on reversal, but there will be a reaction to it. This is, if you saw the event on Thursday, that would be considered the sudden and unexpected event. Remember the baseball bat flying at people's heads? That was in that event. If you didn't see it, it's on YouTube, or it's probably in the email that you just got a little while ago. All right, so that's our FT reset. Those are major lines of support and resistance that we use. Okay, you're going to see the flash, which is one of our divergence indicators. It was the original divergence indicator that we started pairing with our speed tick to anticipate a pullback. And this is when price and the RSI momentum indicator are diverging, meaning that price might be going up, but momentum is going down. And what happens when that happens is that price wants to catch up with momentum. Momentum will lead price. So if we see price going up, but momentum is changing directions, has already headed the other way, then we know chances are price is going to try to catch momentum. McDiver is the exact same thing with the exact same algorithm for divergence, but instead of the RSI, we use the MACD oscillator. All right, now, speed tick. Okay, this is one of the ones that really started changing things for us. Speed tick is when the speed or rate of the orders that are coming into the exchange, not just orders, but orders that are actually processed, meaning an exchange has taken place, but it happens much more quickly than it is likely that us retail traders are doing it. That means it's probably a mechanical manipulation, or computers or HFTs or the quants or the hedge funds or whatever, those people with all the money that can move the markets, right? They're the ones that are likely moving the markets right now, and they do it for a specific reason. Okay, most of these guys, a lot of them are momentum traders where they want to buy high, sell higher. So they push price higher, and they can do this. And if you want to know more about that, I've got videos on YouTube. Okay? So if we see the little white speed tick, that's threshold number one. That means this is probably a typical type of manipulation, and we like these. These are good ones. Then we have these, we call this a medium blue. It's not quite as, it's a little bit bigger than the white ones, and it's not as dark as the blue one. So it's a medium blue. So what this is be careful, okay? That the volatility still appears to be something that is mechanical. It could be several of these computer programs, these HFTs or whatever, firing off against each other, which creates an extreme type of volatility. Typically, we'll trade these. We're probably in an okay zone. Threshold number 3, we call this the big blue. This can oftentimes be generated by a news event, okay? News events can, as you know, can be very volatile, or the open of the equities at 9:30 in the morning can be very volatile, right? So if we see these great big blues, we're going to probably stay out. Okay, that's saying, okay, the volatility is really kind of extreme now. We're not really interested in trading during that type of volatility. We're going to wait for things to cool down a little bit. So that's the speed tick, and the speed tick was revolutionary for our trading. It made me a professional trader. This indicator right here was step one of becoming a professional trader for a living. Okay, our Mo meter, again, we're trying to measure strength to anticipate weakness. Okay, so we want to measure momentum so that we can anticipate exhaustion setting in, because we know price doesn't just continue to move in one direction all the time, right? It always pushes and pulls back, right? Well, we want to measure the momentum. And what happens is the stronger the momentum, the longer it's been going, the lighter colors that these bars turn. And you have the ability to change the colors of these bars if something works better for you. But we just have them go from dark to a light color. So the lighter the color, the more imminent the pullback. Okay, so this is also part of our qualifying process. We'll skip that one. All right, you're going to see something on the charts that looks like this. It has a an open of the bar price, and then you'll see a green and a red, and then below it, you'll see a green and a red. So this is a little helper tool, and that's all it is. We make no decisions about whether the trade qualifies or not using these. We just can see where if we bought at the open of the bar, our target would be here and our stop would be down here. If we sold at the open of this bar, our target would be here and our stop would be here. That will, when we use this, because there are a couple of setups where we don't want to trade back into support and resistance. So we can see right where it is. We don't have to try to count ticks, right, to see how far away our stop is. So it's a little helper tool. That's all that is. A lot of people get confused and they think that every time that pops up, I've placed an order. And that's not the case. It's just a little helper. All right. So this is the star of the show right here. No pun intended. The rock star is going to combine three of our indicators, the divergence, the speed tick, and the overbought, oversold. And it's going to create a signal, and the divergence. Did I say that? It's going to create a signal at the open of the bar that qualifies it as a rock star, or what we call a naked rock star trade setup. We'll talk about that in a minute. Rock star zone, we don't take any trades called a naked rock star inside this zone. You're going to see this zone on the charts here in just a minute. No trades, no rock star or naked rock star trades to be taken inside this zone. We can take them outside the zone, but not inside. Now we've got I told you about the flash and the McDiver. Those are divergence indicators. Well, those work so well for us. We thought we would go ahead and add some of the more common divergence indicators and create it all into a single indicator called the Super D. So now we have 7 different momentum oscillators. The D, just as if you see one D, that means one of the oscillators is showing divergence. This one says 5 oscillators are showing divergence. If you want to know what those oscillators are, just hover over the bar and they'll print down here and show you which oscillators, the rate of change, stochastic, CCI, MACD, the momentum indicator. So these are our divergence, and again, extremely powerful. Okay. There are some other indicators, but these are the most important ones, okay? Now we're going to talk about the setups. So first of all, we trade for 5-tick target and a 7-tick stop. Now, you can change that if you want. Nobody says you have to do what we do. You could start out trading for a 5-tick target and a 7-tick stop, and then after time and you've gotten more comfortable with the setups and this whole idea of trading the way we're trading, and you practiced for a while, you can make your own decisions. We have some people in the trade room that trade for more ticks and fewer ticks on the stop. It's really up to you, but a good starting point, and what I do, is a 5-tick target and a 7-tick stop. Now we manage our trades, meaning that if the conditions of the trade change, I will manage my stop. And I think in one of the videos that I'm going to show you, I did just that. Only manual. Don't care for automated, Troy, and I can talk more about that. Either later or ask me again at the end of this after we're done, and I could tell you everything, my entire opinion about automated trading. All right, so this is our Rockstar setup. We love these. I mean, when we all see this, even those of us that are, we're not trading now, but when you look at this, we all get excited because, I mean, that's a setup that works so much and so well. So let's go through this quick. Price is going to break out of a channel. Now, this is an ideal setup, okay? And not all setups are exactly ideal. So I'm showing you the ideal trade setup, okay? And as a new trader with our system, you might only trade the ideal setups. You won't get as many, but you'll get the best ones, okay? So this is what we see a lot, and that's that we're trading in a channel, okay? And then price suddenly starts to break out of that channel. We see that momentum is being established here by our meters. Remember the bars turning colors? And it's getting lighter. Now this bar has become overbought, meaning that that weakness is likely to be setting in soon, okay? We also know by seeing this speed tick here that the chances are this bar pushed up as hard as it did, as fast as it did, is because it's being manipulated by the market makers, okay? Then we slam into this line of major support or resistance, this is resistance, and then price backs up and opens below below the resistance with a rock star. That's our entry. That's where we enter with a bracket order of 5-tick target and a 7-tick stop. So when we put on our trade, the target and stop are automatically added as well. Okay? So you're going to see that. That's our rock star. That's the ideal rock star trade setup. This one's a naked rock star, very similar to the rock star, but we don't have the major support or resistance. So instead of major support or resistance, we still need more confluence, okay? That major support or resistance provides confluence for us. If it's not there, then we're going to need one of two things. Either price to be oversold or have a pullback alert. Okay, we need one of those two to be on the bar with the speed tick on it. Okay? Yes, which is actually 10 and 14, but we still use 5 and 7, and it works great. It's been working great. We hardly notice a difference. I was reluctant to do it, but some of our traders had already started doing it, and they were just thrilled to death with it. So we put it on our charts for about a month and did it only in sim, and it worked so well. We went ahead and went live with it not too terribly long ago. So all of the conditions, same conditions that we're looking for in a rock star, we're going to look for in a naked rock star, except you won't have support, but you do need it to be oversold or a pullback alert. Yep, only manually. Yeah, we only do this manually. Now, not to say that you couldn't use it and build your own bloodhound. All of our indicators, except for the Rockstar and the Super D, you can use in Bloodhound. You can also make a substitution. You can't use Super D for the Divergence, but you can use I showed you the Flash and the McDiver earlier. You can use those, and for the Super D and for the Rockstar. So you can create almost a perfect workaround for not being able to use the Rockstar or the Super D. As it turns out, Jeremy at Shark has been working on this, and he's given us some code to put into the Rockstar that he wants to test to see if he can get it working. But we don't support it ourselves. I mean, we're not auto trader people. I never will be. I've never met anybody ever that has used an auto trader consistently over time. I have not. Perhaps you have, but I have not. Yes, correct. We use the ATM. I'm going to show you, Stuart. I'll real quickly. It's the GC, which is gold, the CL, which is crude oil, the YM, which is a Dow mini, the RTY, which is the Russell 2000 mini, the ES, which is the S&P 500 mini, and the NQ, which is the NASDAQ mini. All right, now we have a speed tick trade set up that does not require, in fact, this was, remember I said the speed tick was a real game changer and got me into the game as far as being a full-time trader. This was the trade setup. This was it. I hadn't even started using Divergence. And this trade setup still works really well. You must have, there is no option, but you must have support or resistance behind your trade, meaning that where this bar opens, it must have support or resistance 5 ticks or less behind this, your entry, okay? And it's got to be overbought and have a speed tick. So this is a qualified speed tick trade, and I think I've got a couple of these in the videos I'm about to show you. Y'all ready to see some trades? These are trades that we took this week. And when I say we, I mean the whole trade room, if they were there, participated also. I call out these trades ahead of time, okay? Most of the time, as best I can. As you'll notice, some of them set up kind of quickly, and I can't always give an alert. But if I ever enter a trade or take a trade and I did not call it out ahead of time, I'll either let you know that I had to, or I just won't even say anything. So I used to go into trade rooms where the moderator would wait for 10 minutes or so and then go, who's in this trade with me? He was, he'd wait to make sure the trade was way ahead before he said anything. And that always drove me crazy because I was like, well, why didn't you tell me that you were getting in a trade when you did? And he was like, well, you shouldn't have to wait for me. And so he'd always do that. Not just one guy, often lots of guys. So I chose not to do that. You'll know every trade I'm taking, and I call it out ahead of time. So, and I take losses right in front of you, and I'm going to show you some. Okay. So what am I seeing here? What did I just show you? Right? I just showed you this, and this is exactly what we do every day. All right. Price is dropping hard. We've got the thermometer is telling us, and look, it's getting lighter and lighter, telling us the momentum's getting stronger, which means the pullback is imminent. So we're reading every tick that comes into every bar. We've got our pullback alert that's saying that the price action inside this bar is now churning. It started out by being pretty much a straight down drop. It dropped, and then it starts churning here. And it starts a churning activity. When that churning starts, that tells us what? Like the sellers are way in control here, and then the buyers are just sitting down here, and now they're ready to participate. Well, if the sellers are getting exhausted about the time the buyers are just sitting here doing nothing, not exhausted, and you get a churning activity, the non-exhausted are probably going to be able to control what the exhausted traders are doing, okay? So we slam into this line. This bar opened with a rock star. And that's our point of entry. Okay. And that's what you can see my trade on the right. So I use the static Superdome and I place the trade and watch it go. I don't even know if this is a winner or loser, to be honest. It was a winner. It hit the target. And that's it. We are in and out of trades that fast. Because the longer you're in a trade, the more speculative that trade becomes. If you want to know what instrument you're looking at here, because it's going to switch around. Just look right here you'll be able to see which instrument we're trading. Because sometimes it'll be any of the 6. Okay. So again, price is pushing down hard. Look at the size of these bars and then the size of this bar. Look how many indicators we have on this bar suggesting that something is about to change. And again, I just did these last night real quick. I didn't cherry pick or anything. I didn't have time. I just added the trades that we have a log that I keep during our trading. It's called the potential trade setup log that I provide to our people in our pro trader program for the fast forward so that they can use that log to help them practice. This now has another indicator on it that is not in our quick start guide, and I'll talk about that real quick here. This is our climactic volume indicator, okay? Climactic volume is just what it sounds like. It's relative to the volume inside the last 10-ish bars, I think, which is adjustable inside the indicator. So we want to know what type of volume. Remember, we don't care about volume in general. We care about what type of volume is coming into the bar, because certain types of volume tell us that something's about to happen. I don't care about the amount of volume. Everybody watches that, okay? And everybody knows everybody watches that. But a particular type of volume. So this is climactic volume, and this has a strong suggestion for us that something's about to change. Now, right at the very end there, it went from a light blue to a dark blue, so it was kind of hard to catch that. But this actually becomes a new trade setup, or it's been within the last year a setup called a naked speed tick. So it's still qualified, even though I said we don't trade these. It's still qualified for what we call our naked speed tick trade. So I got into it, I think, as a rock star because I thought it was going to be a medium blue, and it ended up being a big blue, but it's still qualified as a naked speed tick trade. And we don't recommend that that new traders trade the naked speed tick. Not until you've mastered the other trades with, like this one. See how we're approaching real hard? We're getting a real strong approach to this support. This is when I call out in the room, I'm watching the NQ, okay? And everybody starts paying attention, and everybody knows what I'm going to do. And everybody's going to do the same thing. And we all just get ready. We put our finger on the trigger, and I missed the trade. Do you see that? You see what happens? Sometimes we miss trades. And you know what my answer to that is? Oh, well, we'll get the next one. So I'm showing you everything. Good, the bad, and the ugly. I thought I had a good trade, and it took off without me. So I just let it go. And I'll wait for the next one. Let me answer that question though. Let's see. Let me quit. We trade. Okay, Ron. Yeah, that's typical. Yes, and we do have people in the room. I don't know, TJ, are you here? One of them is he actually manages other people's money. There he is. TJ shoots for a bit bigger targets, but he also combines what we do with his own trading. He was already a successful trader when he found us. And so he's combined our stuff with his stuff. and he trades other people's money for them. He's legit a legit big time trader. So he does, but I don't recommend anything bigger than that, mostly because my thing is, number one, the longer you're in a trade, the more emotions you have to manage. Number two, the longer you're in a trade, the more speculative that trade becomes because all the sharks are out there swimming in the water and you've just jumped in with them. They have all the power to manipulate and move the markets any way they want. You have no power. So you want to get in and out as fast as you can, right? So yeah, you could go for larger ones, but our indicators aren't telling us that there's going to be a major reversal here or a long pullback here. Our indicators tell us that based on the conditions right now, you can expect price to change directions right now. At this point, I haven't been able to develop a how far indicator to tell us how much it's going to pull back. But we have a sweet spot, and typically it's going to go at least 5 ticks. So that's my target. If you choose to do a study and you find that it actually goes 7, 8, 9, 12 ticks or whatever, that's up to you, and you could certainly do that. Okay? Yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that. Yes, ATM. We use hold on a second. Let me back up and answer Dave's question. Can you use an ATM and mark it in? Yes, but I don't recommend it initially because typically price is quite volatile when we enter. Things are changing directions, and that usually volatility is an indication of that. You can take some pretty good slippage on a market order. So you want to be careful with the market orders. I usually recommend when you're learning what we do, use only limit orders. Chances are you're probably going to get filled on the limit order unless price just opens and drops. And then you're going to just miss the trade. And that's okay. You know, you can miss the trade. Doesn't matter. There's more trades coming. But you can also get a better fill. Say when a limit order, you put on a limit order, say it's a sell, and price goes up, you'll still get filled on that order, but better than the limit order that you put on. Okay? So I don't recommend starting with market orders, but over time, you could work your way up to it. All right. This is a speed tick trade setup. Remember I said this bar has to open 5 ticks or less from this support, and it did. It was just above the support. So this is our speed tick trade setup. There was no divergence there. And off it goes, okay? This is also a speed tick trade setup. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's it. Another speed tick trade setup. Again, you'll have to, excuse me, I just put these together last night. I went through the whole week and picked out just the recordings of each of these. So I don't know what each one is actually until I see it. I actually put on 2 orders here. This was a naked speed tick trade setup and got stopped. Okay. So, yep, we do lose trades. even with all this confluence, there are other influences in the market. So we don't have a crystal ball. We have the next best thing. Okay, so yep, that was a loser. And again, I just went through the trades that we took, and this is just Monday. So far, I'm just on Monday. I have every day this. I didn't do Friday because I got tired. All right, so here's a Rockstar trade, or naked. Remember, naked Rockstar trade. There's no support here. If it had happened up here, it would have been a Rockstar trade, but this is a naked Rockstar trade. Now, if this zone right here was down here, would not have qualified. And in fact, this would have printed blue if it had, if it printed inside this zone, and that gives us a quick heads up. Okay. So this is a naked Rockstar, and this is where I put on the trade. And that's a very common reaction. All right, this is on the YM. It's setting up to be a potential naked speed tick trade. Now, that being said, and remember, naked speed tick, that means it has to have this climactic volume around it. That being said, it may not qualify because you see the red shadow behind the wick? That means it's disqualified at that moment for a naked Rockstar trade. But if it opens with a Rockstar, okay, it did. So it did not qualify. If we didn't have a Rockstar here, this was no trade. And don't let this start to sound too confusing to you. There's really only a few rules, and I'm going through a lot of them very quickly. Within about a week, you'll have them nailed down for the most part. There's always fine tuning, but you'll have the rule. It's like driving a car. You know, if you get into a car and you look at all the stuff that it takes to drive a car, it can be intimidating. But once you know what all the stuff is and how it works and what to do with it, you don't even think about it anymore, right? And really, that's the same with this. We don't really think about too much any of this stuff because it becomes automatic, and it becomes automatic because we practice. That's what we do here. We run this all on playback, and you can practice these setups over and over and over again. And that's what we do with our fast forward program. Is we provide a video of the entire trade session of every day, of every trade session that you can go back and watch, and then pull up the playback utility inside of NinjaTrader and trade right along with us. Or pull up the potential trade setup log that we save and go through the log and just practice the basically you would do exactly what you're seeing here now. You'd be watching these setups, and then you'd be practicing them. Just like what you're seeing here now. All right, so another naked Rockstar trade setup. All right, look at this hard drop. And look how light the bars are getting. Go from black to almost white, light gray here. The lighter it gets, the more imminent the pullback. Okay? We're oversold, speed tick, pullback alert, open of this bar, Rockstar. Let me stop. There you go. Any questions, any other questions that I haven't answered before I go on? I mean, the interesting thing about what I'm showing you here, excuse me, is that it starts to look like the same thing over and over and over again, doesn't it? Like, didn't he just show us that trade? It happened. We're not doing something different every single day. It's the same thing over and over and over. And that's how you get good at something. that we don't really have to do a lot of thinking. Yep. So no questions yet? All right. All right. I don't know what trade this is. I don't know if it's a winner or a loser. I'll just show you. We're channeling, right? We're kind of in a channel here. We bust out of that channel. These millimeter bars are getting lighter. We're overbought. Speed tick. Pullback alert. Okay? On the open of the next bar, I think we're going to be looking for a rock star. Now, we're going to be right about here in the trade room when I say, I'm watching the CL. I might even do it as soon as I see that. And I'll come on the mic. I'll say, I'm watching CL. What are the 5 indicators? Did you get the quick start guide, Nick? You can download that quick start guide. So there's the rock star. That's where I entered. And that was a winner. And that looks just like the last trades I showed you, right? So we just go on and on and on. Let me know if I run through this too quick and you want to see something else. Same thing. I think that was a winner. Let's see. Yep. So we're on Tuesday now. All right. So this is a regular speed tick trade. I'm sorry, Rockstar trade. Because I have support behind it. 5 to 7, Ernest. About 5 to 7 each day. Could be as many as 15, could be as few as none. We may sit all session and get no trades until 5 minutes before we shut the room down at noon. But on average, 5 to 7. Marshall, you're not here, are you? Marshall's our data guy. Marshall would know. 9 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern time each day. Those are the most liquid hours, so that's really when we want to be trading. So this is major support here. This bar open, see, and this is where remember I told you this OTS little tool thing? This is the open of the bar. If I were going to short it, that would be my target. If I'm going to buy it, this would be my stop. Well, my stop is on the other side of this line, which is what I want. So this qualifies, and this little helper tool helped me qualify this as a qualified trade. So we bought it here. And that's in the quick start guide, you'll see the speed tick trade setup, and that's what this is. Okay, and that was a loser. Okay, so let's go over this. We have kind of a channel going here, and then it breaks out of a channel. Price is dropping. We have a speed tick. Now, if we didn't have this pullback alert, this would not have qualified for a trade setup. But because it had the pullback alert, it qualifies for a naked rock star trade setup. Yeah, Richard, it is. I'll send it out later this afternoon. This would qualify for a naked rock star trade setup because of this. Now, this was the only level of confluence. This would not be what I would consider one of my favorite trade setups because I like to see a stronger push, therefore a more potential for exhaustion, and I like to see more confluence. So I would have really liked to have seen this to be oversold. However, my trade plan says this qualifies. So I entered this trade. And again, not one of my favorite setups, but it certainly qualified. And it ended up being a loser. And I showed you, I'd show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. These are just the trades off the log, the potential trade setup log. Again, let's see, here's our Rockstar and the winner. Okay, so that was Tuesday. How many more do you need to see? You did not get what? Do I need to go back? Did I go too fast on something? The quick start guide. Oh, it's pinned up at the top. There's two documents pinned at the top of the chat. One is the quick start guide, and the other is the information on how to set the NQ to be a little slower. What is this? Why isn't this showing anything? Oh, there we go. So yeah, you can download those right there from the top of the chat. Anything you guys want to see that I haven't shown you yet? All right, another rock star on the YM. Okay. Now, this is a qualified rock star trade because even though this high of the day is minor resistance, it is resistance. So we have a speed tick and then a rock star and resistance 5 ticks or less behind the trade. So this still qualified as a rock star trade. Okay, a naked rock star. Let's see. I wonder, did I miss that? I may have missed that entry. Yeah, I missed the entry and it took off without me. So there's one where I just got left in the dust, and that's okay. It's okay. I don't mind missing out on a trade every now and then. And because the flip side is we have a real high probability. So missing out on a trade every now and then is not the worst thing that could ever happen. Not taking a trade is really a pretty good thing, to be honest, if we get enough trade setups. And here's a rock star on the NQ. Actually, this is a naked rock star trade. And I just took these in order, just made these videos in order of what's on the potential trade setup log. Troy, remember I told you that this was going to be a very concentrated week in the trade room. You're getting pretty much everything we did in the trade room. So you're more than welcome to come spend a week in our trade room. But this is a much better use of your time, I would think. And this is what you're going to see. I mean, you can ask our traders. We have a number of traders here that are in our trade room every day. And this is very typical of just what we do. But typically, see, there's our rock star. I took that trade. Typically, we have to just wait between each trade. And just, but this way you don't have to do that. Yes, we have a number of people that use it with prop firms. They don't usually tell me. A lot of people come and go, and I find out later that they're doing it. They don't tell me that they're trying it or whatever. But yes, it's fine to use with prop firms. In fact, I think Top Step really likes it. That's one that I know of that some people have used. There are others that I think other people like better. I don't keep up with the prop firm stuff because I don't use them, but I think it's a good option for people. All right, I started. Okay, so here's a trade management. Okay, this is the one I wanted to show you. um, as long as there's liquidity and volatility, you don't want to get into any markets that are not real liquid and have a lot of activity. We need the market makers. We need them to be interested in the market at that period of time. If they're there, then sure. I know for a fact it works pretty well in the London session because we have a lot of people that trade our stuff from all over the world, and a lot of London session traders like this and use it. And you can actually go, I look every now and then, I haven't in a long time, but you can look at 24-hour charts and see how the volatility kicks up and see how well the indicators work. Oh, well, happy birthday. Yeah, have a good weekend. See you later. All right, so I wanted to show you trade management. So I entered this trade back here. So I entered the trade here, right? And this was a Rockstar trade setup. Now, we're anticipating that price is just going to bounce from this point. That's expected based on the indicators. We're expecting, based on the information that's coming into the markets right now, we're expecting price to change directions pretty much right now. You know, we don't expect it to be perfect, but pretty much right now. When that doesn't happen, then we have to start rethinking and looking at this going, okay, we didn't get the bounce we were expecting. Let's wait for the open of the next bar and see what the conditions are, and then make a decision on whether we want to manage our stop or not. So at the open of this bar, we had a lot of divergence. Remember what I told you about divergence. If price is moving this way, but we have divergence, that means momentum is moving this way. And price wants to catch up with momentum. So, excuse me. So, because we have all this divergence and a rock star, I'm not going to manage my trade yet. I'm going to just sit and wait. And I'm going to wait for the open of the next bar. Did you see price bouncing off the support? Okay. Now, again, I've got all 7 divergence momentum oscillators diverging from price still. So I'm waiting. And I'm not managing the trade yet. Now, this bar, no divergence. First thing I do is I go, because I'm watching and I'm waiting, and I notice there's no divergence on this bar. So I'm going to start managing my stop shorter, because the conditions that got me into the trade have totally changed now. So I'm going to move my stop up. That kind of happened quickly. Hold on. I'll just put it on regular speed. So I move my stop up 1 tick, give it a little space, move my stop up again. I should have moved it at that point. And then it took my stop out. So instead of taking a 7-tick stop, I took a 5-tick stop. I probably could have done better and gotten 4-tick if I had been managing it just a little bit better. But again, that's practice. All right, so we had what was a potential naked speed tick, but it was not a qualified naked speed tick, but it opened with the rock star, so it qualified. So you do have to be paying attention. Trading is not something that you can do while you're multitasking, or at least not the type of trading that we do. You have to stay engaged. The opportunities come up quickly. They all start to look alike? Let's see, we're on Wednesday here. This is Wednesday of this week. It's almost like you were looking at the same thing over and over and over again. So you could ask me any questions and it'll apply to a number of different trades that we've had. Ask questions. You can see that it's tradable, right? A lot of people think, oh, I could never trade that fast. You absolutely can. There's a regular old naked rock star trade. It's oversold. We had a strong push. You'll notice price was a little bit sideways here. We had a strong push. I'm not sure where I got in this, but up it goes. A lot of times it opens and you put on a limit order at the open and then it drops and you get a better fill. Yes, I don't trade those, but we do have traders that do, and they say they work perfect. I don't like the cost of the micros. For what they do, getting you in slowly and the cost, all things being equal, is higher than the minis. So I prefer to trade the minis. But when you're learning, it's a lot cheaper way to learn. The fees are more on the micros. Yeah, that's a good way to get your feet wet, though, for sure. I don't do it myself, and I would recommend that once you get good at this, that you graduate um, to the minis. All right, what haven't I shown you that you'd like to see? Anybody? You've got the quick start guide. You've got the setups in the quick start guide. You've seen the setups that we took this week that are just like what you're seeing in the quick start guide. You want to ask me, well, ask me anything about the system, how I came up with it, what my past was, how I became a professional after being a struggling trader for 7 years. You know, while we're sitting here doing this, I answer any questions you might have to help you make good decisions. All right. And help you understand if this is maybe the right thing for you. My favorite trade is going to be either the Rockstar or Naked Rockstar, both of those. The more confluence, the better. We trade 6. This is what we're looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is our trade room right here. All right, so we trade and watch 6 instruments, and it's really pretty easy. Yeah, I'm just showing each trade so it's easier to see. I mean, look at all this confluence. Doesn't mean it. I don't know if this is a winning trade or a losing trade. I have no idea. I just put all of them up here. How long would the time frame be for the 7-tick target? We trade 1 minute. These are all 1 minute charts. We're expecting things to happen right now. Okay, so I did get stopped on that one. Oh, well, that's up to you. You'll know when you have confidence. Yeah, I would say for sure within 3 months you should have some confidence for sure, because you will have seen it work over and over and over again, and you will know that you have the ability to exploit the advantage that we have. See, that's where the confidence comes. And then you sit down in the morning without the expectation of having your teeth kicked in like I used to. And have my teeth kicked in every day that week. Why not today? Why would today be any different? But the flip side of that is I'd also be excited about the potential opportunity of making it all back. Right? So I was scared to death and excited at the same time. Oh, practice. You can practice the morning session doing exactly what I'm doing here. What you see me doing in this video, this is how you get good at it. You can, when you get off work or whenever you have free time, practice, 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 practice. You do this. You use our potential trade setup log. You use our tools in the fast forward program. You practice and you work at it every day whenever you have time. That's how you get good at any skill that you ever want to get good at, right? You practice. This is a skill. We already have the advantage. We found an advantage in the market that we can exploit. But the flip side is you've got to develop a bit of skill. You develop skill with experience. You gain experience by practicing. It's real simple. I was about to give up, Keith. I really was about to give up. I was exasperated. To be honest, my wife wouldn't let me give up. I tried to give up, and she believed in me. I don't know why, but she wouldn't let me give up. I know it's the other way around for a lot of people. The wife is like, when are you going to stop doing that crazy trading stuff? But my wife believed that I'm smarter than I believe I am. And it really doesn't take smart. I mean, it did to kind of develop this and get this thing going. But the daily trading part, it's a grind. It's just, you're seeing it. You're watching it. Same thing every day, all the time. You don't have the skill yet. You have to develop the skill that of trading this system. The potential trade setup log is part of our Pro Trader program. It's in our members area, and it gets unlocked if you're in the Pro Trader program. Yeah, I understand, and I talk to a lot of traders that are in the same position. It's just not meant to be. The reason is that you don't understand what you don't understand. We all come into tradings with these assumptions and expectations about what trading is and what it should be, and those are all faulty assumptions. If you saw my presentation on Thursday, we talked about a faulty foundation, and that foundation of trying to build a trading career on top of something that's unrealistic. Unrealistic is what we all come into trading with, is these faulty assumptions and expectations of what trading is, should be, or what it's going to take to be successful. We all believe it should be easier than it is. And that there's all I need to know is when to push the button. That was not my Oh, good. That was not my experience. And I almost gave up many times. In fact, I would walk away for a while, or I blow out an entire account and then not fund it again for a while. But yeah, I was, again, what day are we on? We still on, yeah, we're still on what, Tuesday? Oh, no, we're on Thursday now. We're looking at trades on Thursday. That's a good question, Pam. When it comes to programming, um, oh, that's the end of Thursday. Okay, that's all I have for you for videos. When it comes to, we are developing a new Superdome, static Superdome, but it is not ready yet. And at any point in time, it could fail. I mean, it already has, Pam. We've failed. We gave up, and now we're taking another run at it, but a different way. So we've actually just started a new approach to a new dome, and I've hired 2 more programmers for that. So now I have a total of 3 working on it. He just started on Monday of this week. We have a meeting on Tuesday of next week to show us what he's working on. So it's in the works, but I can't tell you how long. I wish I could. And again, it could fail and we could end up with nothing. But I'm trying really, really hard and spending a lot of money trying to create a new static Superdome that, people in Canada can use, and other people that don't want to pay the Trading Technologies fee for for using their dome. Yeah, you're welcome. I wish I could give you more information. Just know that we're working really hard on it. Yeah, I'll send it out later today. Want to let you guys know, for everybody that visited with us here, we've got a coupon code for any one of our programs. Uh, it's easy, David, and if you watch the video, you'll see when you see chop, we don't trade it. We sit. That's how you that's how you avoid it. You sit and you wait, and sometimes you wait hours, but you wait. And we have very specific rules. And if you have good rules and a good trade plan and confidence that your system works when you follow those rules, that you have an edge when you follow those rules. It gets easier to follow rules when you know that when you do, you're most likely going to have a positive result. So that makes it easier. So trading in chop is something that we just don't do because it's not in our rules. So we sit. And sometimes that's why you join a trade room, because when you're just sitting doing nothing, if you're doing nothing with other people, you can at least talk to other people. Or if you feel compelled to do something you're not supposed to do, like trade during chop, and other people aren't doing it, you tend to, you hang around with people that have the characteristics that you'd like to have. You're likely to pick up those characteristics. That's also why you hang out in a trade room, because sometimes you tend to kind of go off in a ditch sometimes. But if everybody else is staying it and holding tight and not trading, you're likely to also follow along. My rule, Ron, I have a very simple rule that I developed a long time ago. And this is all part of the money thing that I am so against day trading being about money, because money is what screws us up, right? Money, thinking about money is what makes us emotional. It makes good people do bad things. And money, I realized, was the very core of the problem I had, which of not being able to manage my emotions. So I worked at removing money from my trading. And instead, I made myself the lead trader of my trading business, and I said, "Okay, you work for me." Here, this is me talking to myself. You work for me, and your only job is to execute the trade plan that I give you. So when I sit down in the morning, I'm the lead trader only. I'm not the bookkeeper or the accountant or the boss or anything. My only job is to execute the plan as it's written exactly. So that takes a little bit of mental work, and it's worth doing. And that's part of, we cover some of that in our fast forward and our AHA sessions for our pro traders. Um, so the mental work needs to get done. There's training videos in the Pro Trader. So what I decided to do is, since trading is not about money, I can't have a financial target for the day, right? Or a financial stop. I don't trade for money when I'm trading. I trade wins and losses, and that's how I keep score. So if I win 3 trades, net 3 trades. So like if I lose the first one and I win the next 4, that's net 3 winning trades in that day. I stop trading live, and then I continue on for the rest of the session in sim. Some days that happens in the first 10 minutes. Some days it just doesn't even happen because I don't get enough trades. Some days I hit my stop, which is net 3 losing trades. So if I win the first trade and I lose the next 4, that's net 3 losing trades. I stop trading live and I finish the day in sim. I never have huge winning days or huge losing days. I have a lot of medium size, small to medium winning days, and not very many small to medium losing days. So instead of looking for making a lot of money each day, I focus on consistency, and I let the money take care of itself. Okay. And a lot of people in the trade room, now I explain this to a lot of people. And while I'm explaining to you is how I did it and how I transitioned from being a really worst trader in the world to somebody who actually makes a living at day trading. So it was a transition. It wasn't like I didn't just flip a switch and one day I was, like a lot of people want to imagine. You just flip a switch, like you found the magic bullet and everything's fine. No, it's a transition and a process. Okay. So I explained to people the process I went through and where I ended up. And a lot of people have gone, "Hey, that sounds good to me. I'll try that." Exactly. I'll try that. And they try that and they like it too. But you want to start with net 1 winning trade per day and work your way up. Again, it's a process. You can't just start at net 3 winning trades per day. I mean, you could try, but you're going to find that really hard. Go through the process just like anything else you learn or any other skill or anything else you do. You have to start with the basics, right? If you're into sports, playing music, whatever, You always start learning the basics. How do you hold a tennis racket? How do you hold a golf club? How do you hold a football? The basics. And then you work up from there. And it takes time, right? So that's the same with this, which is one of the reasons why so many people fail at trading. They don't have the expectation that it should take this long or will take that long to and go through all of those steps, because what we see is what? Trading charts and an order entry platform. That looks easy, right? It looks very simple. It's what attracted me to day trading. I had a customer when I was in construction show me what he was doing on his computer. And at first I wasn't all that interested. But it just kind of nagged at me in the back of my head because I really wanted to stop working in my construction business. I was tired of it. I wanted to do something easier. Well, man, this day trading thing looked easy, didn't it? So I had to come to the realization that I was going to have to back up, rethink this whole trading thing, and approach it from a different perspective. And I had that opportunity, and it was an eye-opening experience for me. Maybe I'll write a book someday. Yeah, if you have a login, then the indicators there's a button on the left that says, I think, indicators, licensing, whatever. But there is a button that says indicators. Send an email. If you can't find it, I'll send you the link. support@theintentionaltrader.com. Any other questions? I mean, I can talk all day, right? Anybody that's been doing this as long as I have and helping people as long as I have, I end up having a lot to say. Thanks, James. That's, again, practice and experience. No, you don't, Matt. You're not struggling with money management. You're struggling with something else. You're struggling with your emotions, and you don't have the confidence that you need to have. So it has to, again, you believe. Okay, did you watch the video on Thursday or attend Thursday, Ron? Yes, you have to send us the machine ID. Yes, sir. You should get an email requesting it, but you could also just send it right in an email or whatever. But yeah, we do need the machine ID. I think even during the purchase process, there's a comment section, I think, maybe, where you could put it. But yeah, once you've done the purchase, you should get an email that requests it. But again, support@theintentionaltrader.com, and we can get it that way. Okay, so on Thursday, I talked about this. You heard me refer to this faulty foundation. So I'm a contractor, right? Or I was for many years, and I would have people call me out to work on their house, and they wanted me to either fix something or build an addition or whatever. And so they'd go, okay, well, my roof is leaking and the porch is sagging, but I want you to build this addition on. And I'm like, well, I can't really do that because the foundation is sinking and ruined and crumbling. No. I just have a leaky roof. Just fix the leaky roof and add the addition on. But it'll never, no matter what I do, it will never work, because unless you fix the foundation of the problem, all of the other problems that you think you have will never go away, no matter what. You can address a single problem like money management. You can address that problem and work at that problem. But if you haven't fixed the foundation yet, then that problem is always going to exist, or it's going to just lead to other problems. So you've got to fix the foundation first. And you do that by backing up and taking a whole different approach to things than what you've been doing. See, we think every time we add a new indicator or try a new system or watch a new video that we're trying something different and new, right? Well, I'll try this. Well, I'll try that. Well, I'll try this. So you think you're trying different things. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? And then, everybody knows the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. So oh yeah. Yeah, that's a funny thing that we see in the trade room when people come to visit with us and the first trade is a loser. I can see them leave. Boink, gone, never come back. Go to, they're all over the website. Yes, for anything that you purchase, you'll get a 100% credit towards an upgrade. Yep, whenever you do it. Just had, where's Willie? Are you here? Willie here? Willie's not here. Willie just upgraded yesterday. He started with the extra income and just upgraded yesterday to the Pro Trader. David, the website. You have a link to the website? On the main page, there is a form to fill out for the, down towards the bottom, I think, for the trade room trial. Yeah, people tend to see pretty quickly the value in the Pro Trader versus the other programs. We try to add as much value as possible to the Pro Trader. All right, everybody. Well, I think I've got to most of your questions. If you have any others, you can hit us up at support@theintentionaltrader.com. And we'll answer your questions for you. Hopefully we'll see you all very soon. Again, thanks for coming and have a great weekend.